Over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been this concerted effort to redeem the Sonic characters. And what do I mean by this? If you've been in the Sonic fandom, you would know that starting around 2010, the writing for the characters took a nosedive. The franchise needed to go into a different direction, so they started to go with this more unserious tone of writing. But it's definitely a stark contrast for how the Sonic franchise used to handle writing them. So they changed the game writers, they hired a lore manager, so things were clearly set to go into a different direction. We had a successful Sonic movie under our belt, so there's a lot of new eyes on the franchise, so the time to strike was definitely now. As far as the games goes, it started with Knuckles. We got the prologue for him, which really kind of restored his character because he was someone who was probably character assassinated the most. Then we tried to restore Sonic in Sonic Frontiers. Like or hate the story, it's certainly a different direction than what we were getting, and definitely a step in the right direction. Fast forward a couple of years later, and then we get one of the boldest and most ambitious attempts to restore a character's image with the Fearless Year of Shadow, which gave us a Shadow Generations prologue animation as well as Sonic and Shadow Generations, probably one of the most successful games to come out of the franchise. So with this bold new direction that Sega is taking for their characters, a lot of people are wondering who's next? Who's going to be the next character to get their image restored? A lot of those conversations involve Silver the Hedgehog, who definitely peaked in his original debut game, but since then has kind of lost his signature edge that he once had in Sonic 06. Watching him play this secondary background role in Sonic Forces and getting defeated by Infinite certainly hasn't helped, but in recent weeks, Sonic fans took it upon themselves to actually restore Silver's image with this crazy fan theory that has been going absolutely viral everywhere. So why is Silver the Hedgehog back in the forefront of discussion, and what exactly is going on? Well, in order to tell this story, we have to start with the beginning of the context, because it actually involves Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, surprisingly. So it's said that the new Sonic Racing Cross Worlds game has something like 500 different unique character dialogue options. Potentially it's more, but that's just what I remember seeing off the top of my head. To the delight of many Sonic fans, Sage, who is the daughter of Dr. Eggman, was included in this game. And one of the things that she said in this game may have somehow trickled down and changed the fate of the perception of Silver the Hedgehog forever. Once the Sonic Racing Cross Worlds open network test beta was released, data miners were able to go into the files and see some of the voice lines that the characters had. For Sage, this was one of her introduction lines. It said that she is confirmed to inherit the Eggman Empire after Eggman is gone. The line says, "I am Sage, daughter to Dr. Eggman, heir to the Eggman Empire." Knowing that Sage is currently the heir to the Eggman Empire, the theory crafting really took off after this dialogue between Silver and Sage. It says, "Silver, there is no Eggman Empire, my time. This is your chance to change your ways and become a force for good." Sage then replies and says, "Your observation means I must work harder to ensure my father's vision becomes a reality." So this implies, obviously, that the Eggman Empire was defeated in the past. It also kind of plants the idea in our head that the Eggman Empire could even survive on after Dr. Eggman. But that wasn't the only dialogue between the two, and I would argue that the next batch of dialogue probably is the one that truly kicked off everything that I'm about to explain. So when Sage is speaking to Silver, here's what the dialogue is. Sage says, "Your presence implies my father will succeed if not opposed. He will be pleased by this." Silver then says, "Don't use me to encourage that madman. I'll beat you today and prove just how hopeless your cause truly is." I think the first thing a lot of people could pull away from this is just like the language that they use, like if not opposed, if the heroes fall, if my father fails. This type of language kind of reminds me of the Zelda timeline in a way, where you think of like the Ocarina of Time timeline where the hero could potentially fall and it causes a whole new branching timeline. So I think that's where a lot of the inspiration for this movement has begun. It's kind of cool. You never really think about what happens after the Sonic characters are gone, but this is a discussion for a little bit later on in the video. So you could say most people were pretty excited about the news, except for Metal Sonic. I mean, man, this guy just cannot catch a break. So the idea that there's a successor to Eggman's Empire is kind of something that you just don't think about, but the premise of it doesn't really seem so far-fetched considering the nature of what Eggman does. He is a scientist that invents artificial beings, such as his daughter Sage. Unlike human beings, which Dr. Eggman is, robots and machines are not bound to the confines of mortality like human beings are. There will be a day when most heroes and villains alike in the Sonic franchise will cease to exist, especially when you consider 200 years into the future. In Silver Silver the Hedgehog's current present day. There will be no Sonic. There will be no Tails. There won't be a Dr. Eggman, but perhaps his legacy could live on forever through his technology. So, now that we have all the required context to understand the phenomenon of this new Silver revival in terms of his public perception, or really the theory about it, the theory goes like this. An artist by the name of CornArt3 on Twitter, make sure to give them a follow, released some artwork which shows a post-apocalyptic future where the Eggman Empire succeeds and lives on through a successor. It shows Silver the Hedgehog wearing a cape, and he could potentially be the hero that the future needs. But the reason why this is so interesting is that hundreds of Sonic artists have jumped in to kind of elaborate what a post-apocalyptic future where the Dr. Eggman Empire succeeds and lives on could potentially look like. So there's so much fan art, there's been comics, there's apparently 3 different fan games in development that explore this story, and it just shows the limitless potential of what Silver the Hedgehog could be. But in addition to that, it just shows kind of how talented the Sonic community is with the artwork as well as the fan game developers. Like, tons of talented people at a moment's notice could just come together and create fan games, animations, artwork, comics, whatever, you name it, and have it look so good. But also the premise is just so promising. So, not to go through every single piece of artwork, but I'll try to highlight as many artists as I can. One of the biggest and most prominent themes from this new Silver headcanon timeline that people have been cooking up is the brand new Neo Sage. So Sage, 200 years into the future, trying to continue her father's legacy. Considering that she's an AI, that would mean that she's probably immortal. A future where Sage, said to be Dr. Eggman's greatest creation, reaches her potential and takes the reins of the Eggman Empire and becomes an even greater threat than he ever was, while being this persistent nemesis of Silver the Hedgehog. Just sounds like such an incredible concept. So that's the basic premise, which has inspired countless fan arts. I mean, for example, look at this. Silver versus a metal Silver. 3D models and animations have already been made. The idea that Shadow the Hedgehog is immortal and shows up in Silver's timeline to help him defeat Neo Sage. The possibility of Omega showing up. It seems like the Year of Silver, or just like this fan demand for Silver the Hedgehog to be redeemed, was all started from one little piece of art. What's ironic about all of this is that I was going to make my own headcanon theory about Silver potentially being the main character of the Sonic franchise. And then it just so happens that this new Silver movement comes out where just every single day there's brand new artwork being released with thousands of likes and retweets showcasing the new Silver timeline. But here's the thing that in a way kind of leads me to believe that Silver could be viewed as the main character of the Sonic franchise. I mean, not actually, it's obviously the Sonic franchise, but in terms of narrative, hear me out. When Sega released an official character bio for Silver back in 2023, it said that Silver is a young, aspiring hero from 200 years in the future. He commands a powerful psychokinesis, which allows him to manipulate objects with his mind, fly through the air, and even teleport short distances. While he means well, he can naively be led astray. Silver's time period was once ravaged and ruined, but together with Sonic, Blaze, and others, he helped restore its blue skies and peaceful days, even if he can't remember how. These days, he travels to Sonic's time via mysterious portals that appear when things in the past go awry. He's dedicated to doing whatever it takes to ensure the future remains peaceful and prosperous. So, for those of you who don't know, the reason why Silver appears in past adventures post 06, as explained in that character bio, when things go wrong in the past, a portal appears for him to return to the past to fix the future. In Sonic 06, Silver's future is devastated and it's turned into Crisis City. This implies that all of the heroes died and failed. When you look at instances like the IDW Sonic Forces prequel, in the comic, Silver says that the future is in ruins, so that's why he has to come back and fix it. The same thing happened in the Metal Virus arc. When Silver returned to his future, it was completely in ruins. So once again, this implies that Sonic, Shadow, whoever the case may be, the heroes of the past fell. So what does this mean? Well, it means the heroes of the past will not succeed unless the protector of the future returns to save them. I mean, sure, Sonic's usually the one that ends up defeating the boss, but technically this is kinda how you have to look at it. Since Sonic the Hedgehog is a static character, which means that he doesn't go through character arcs, he's usually the one that affects change for the characters around him. He's the main character from our POV, but if you look at stories like Sonic Adventure, I mean, technically T-Call and Chaos are truly the main characters, right? Shadow the Hedgehog, main character of SA2, but through his interactions with Sonic, ends up changing. Sonic and the Black Knight, Merlina, she changes through her interactions with Sonic as well. Sonic Unleashed, Chip, I mean, you could argue he's actually the main character. In Sonic Battle, the Gizoid, he's also a character that goes through change and kind of acts as the centerpiece of the story. Princess Elise from Sonic 06, a lot of these characters find themselves through the actions of Sonic, which is kind of why Sonic is just such an interesting character to begin with. What do you think about the new Silver movement? What do you think about his place as the potential main character of the series? Did some of this open up your eyes? Let me know down below in the comments.